If you're wondering what to do with all your ideas, this is the right video for you. It's Amy Hager. I'm a registered dietitian in private practice. I'm self-employed and I have 3 businesses. So time to time suffered from idea overwhelm. Now to get started, we all know that overwhelm is a buzzword today, especially when you're talking about work-life balance and the culture of trying to keep everything afloat. And we've all been overwhelmed at one point or another. You know, that physical sensation, that emotional drain it puts on you, it's real. But the overwhelm that I'm talking about here in particular is the other kind of overwhelm that gets you stuck in your head and not able to take any steps forward, not really knowing what to do next. It's like an overwhelm of ideas. Idea overwhelm can present itself just like general overwhelm, that feeling of excitement, sometimes an inability to focus, and even anxiety. I've talked to quite a few professionals who have had interest in making some career changes or starting their own business, beginning a project, but they're stuck in that procrastination because they don't really know where to start. Too many ideas floating around. And that sucks. Imagine having all hundreds of ideas and all that excitement about getting something started, but then months later, no action steps taken, and you're in the exact same place that you were 6 months ago. And that's a real downer. You can start to feel a little bit like you're doubting yourself. Am I capable of this? And what's wrong with me? And why can't I just do it? Idea overwhelm is certainly real. And I've personally experienced this on several occasions. Some people call it shiny object syndrome, where you get excited about each new idea that comes to you, or sometimes you're seeing an idea that somebody else has and you're wondering if should you be following that idea. So, your focus keeps shifting. And so the problem with that is that it's constantly taking attention away from your previous idea. And for me, it happens when I'm trying to come up with content for social media. So I'm researching what's trending and my ideas are coming, and I come up with 100 things that I could do next. And then that sheer volume of ideas throws me into that state of inertia or panic or, just basically a freeze, and I end up doing nothing. And then if I do take action, it seems to come out way less perfect than I had it going in my head. And then that could be disappointing to feel like you just did like a half-assed job of what you were going to execute on your idea. And in the end, I feel less confident to act on future ideas. So is this sounding familiar? If so, drop me a comment saying I hear this, this is real. So I do have 2 coping mechanisms for idea overwhelm. One is to table my ideas for a period of time and then revisit. And I know that kind of just sounds like a fancy way of procrastinating, but it's different because it's a predetermined rest period. And I think it's different. It's just in a different category because it's intentional. You're deciding to table it for a specific amount of time. Just don't forget to schedule when you're going to revisit your ideas. But what this break does is that it will serve to ease that general anguish of having to take action about stuff and not knowing which idea to pick. So it'll ease that. And it kind of allows your subconscious to process and sift and to sort through some of these ideas. And then sometimes the subconscious might kind of direct you, things will become a lot more clear. Definitely have had that experience. So you're not trying to actively solve your problems while you're tabling them. You're just letting them marinate, you could say. But you might end up getting clarity without having to work your way through the answer. So you're muscling less, you're hustling less, you're trying to get a little bit more hands off and let things sort of come to their own clarity. I know it's kind of a wishy-washy way of thinking about it because you're not so direct, but it is a tried and true method. It does work. If you've ever taken a shower and then you've been out for a walk and then suddenly you get a great fresh idea that seems really awesome, or it's just so clear what the next path forward is. So when you give your mind that mental break is when you can get some answers coming to you. So I think you know what I mean here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but the key is that you've got calmer energy and there's less ideas. There's less trying, there's less writing on it because you're not like trying to come up with a very forced answer. So I know it can be scary to sort of leave something alone to get answers, but it's been a real, like I said, it's been a tried and true strategy for me. Now, the second strategy is to cope with an overwhelm of ideas or idea overwhelm is to be a little bit more hands-on. So this might appeal to you if you're feeling like that first suggestion was just like not going to work for you. An overwhelm of ideas you need the opportunity to sort them through, and you need to create time. You need to create a distraction-free environment and possible pulling in some counsel from advisors to talk things through. So the mistake that I made with idea overwhelm in creating social media content is that I try to squeeze it into my day when I wasn't doing other things, because I was like, oh, well, if I make a reel or make a post or make a video, a short video, only takes 10 minutes. I can squeeze that in between clients. I can squeeze that in the afternoon when I'm done. And, it's like the same idea. If you've worked with clients who try to squeeze in exercise into their day, just wherever, and it's not a great strategy for creating a solid routine. I find it far more effective to dedicate a day, a half day, a block of time to sort through your ideas. This technique takes away so many distractions, the urge, that temptation to push it to another day, that to switch up to a different task. There's a lot of distractions when you don't give your idea generation like its own dedicated time period. It adds an element of integrity to what you're working on, and just think of it as treating your ideas with respect because they deserve it. You need to kind of elevate what you're doing and not just like squeeze it in here and there. So right before the holidays, I was riddled with ideas about how I was going to change things up in the new year, and I was tempted to use my vacation to sort it all out. Like, okay, come up with a huge plan. You know what? No. Not going to just use my vacation to try to organize my mind. Instead, I was called to use that first strategy of handling my idea overwhelm by just completely tabling everything. And I spent 14 days immersed in family traditions, and I sat down in front of the computer on January 1st, that first week of coming back, just to see if anything got subconsciously sorted out, if anything. And interestingly, it was the 2-week break that worked wonders, giving my brain a break from sorting problems. And it really helped me to get more clear just a short time later. 2 weeks isn't a whole lot of time in the scheme of things. So that first week of January, I came up with a social media schedule and a dedicated day of the week to work out my ideas. So my question to you is, have you ever tried either of these techniques to help with combating idea overwhelm? Which one seems a little bit more appealing to you? Do you like to just be a little bit more hands-on and sort things out? Or are you more tempted to let things sort of marinate and see if ideas come back to you? There's definitely a couple key points to keep in mind. Remember, if you table your ideas, make sure it's for a predetermined period, not just indefinitely, because otherwise you're procrastinating. So you're tabling it for a period of time and then revisiting. And then if you're going to do more hands-on, the key about that one is to be organized about it. You have your dedicated time, and then if you're going to call in an advisor, you're scheduling time to talk about things. You're being a lot more direct and organized about it. So 2 different approaches. They both work well in different scenarios. I encourage you to experiment and try them both. Definitely want to hear from you if that's something that you're planning on doing. And I'd like to invite you to learn more about taking a structured break. If you want to hear more about how to structure your time to be productive, but also a relief for mental overload or idea overwhelm, please check out the sabbaticalschool.org, where we go over how to rest for so many reasons, for enhanced productivity, enhanced creativity, on and on and on. There's a lot of benefits toward that. We're experts at resting and taking a load off so that we can continue to do more. All right, guys, cheers, and I can't wait to hear from you in the comments.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Be sure to catch the latest video here. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos on private practice and being self-employed as a dietitian.